Hey viewers, and welcome back to Bestie. With the low-carb craze going strong, high-carb bread seems to be slowly making an exit out of people's diets. Now before we move ahead, let's clear up one thing. When we say bread, we're talking about the kind that's made of refined wheat, like white bread. These breads are heavily processed and contain hardly any natural ingredients. Thousands of people have been sharing information about what's changed in their lives since they've decided to quit eating flour-based products like bread, and the positive results, well, they speak for themselves. In today's video, we'll tell you what would happen if you stopped eating bread for a month from reduced illness, more energy, improved digestion, weight loss to clearer skin, and more. Watch until the end to find out all of them. You'll have more energy. Remember the last time you ate that big sub for lunch and were dying for a cat nap? Many of you may be familiar with this afternoon slump, and the reason why you often crave a nap after eating bread is because of the heavy dose of carbs you get from it. Here's something to keep in mind when it comes to carbs. They trigger the release of feel-good brain chemicals that help us to relax. So when you eat high-carb foods like bread, you tend to become more relaxed and even sleepy. In addition to that, bread is a high glycemic food, and these are notorious for causing blood sugar level spikes. Now this rapid rise in blood sugar may initially make you feel more energetic, but when the levels go down, you'll find yourself feeling very tired due to the energy crash. Do you suffer from an afternoon slump after a carb-heavy meal? What do you do to deal with it? Share your experience in the comments section below. Number 2, you'll lose water weight. When you reduce your carb intake, the first thing you'll notice is how quickly, even magically, the weight falls off. But it's not fat you're losing. It's actually water. When carbs are stored in the body in the form of glycogen, each gram of carbohydrate stores 3 to 4 times its weight in water. As soon as you cut your carbs and start using your glycogen stores, you'll lose a good amount of water weight. Number 3, you might feel like you have the flu. Ever heard of something called the low-carb or keto flu? Yeah, I mean it's a real thing. It's not fun. When you cut down on carbs significantly, you might deal with flu-like symptoms like drowsiness, itchiness, and nausea. A lot of these issues have to do with your brain, which typically uses a ton of glucose, because it has so many nerve cells. When your brain doesn't have enough glucose to run full steam ahead, it has to transition to using fat. Your nerve cells don't function properly, and you feel terrible. Plus, people on a low-carb diet often lose out on electrolytes like sodium and potassium, which can lead to some flu-like symptoms, as well as issues like heart palpitations and muscle cramps. The low-carb flu should subside once you're a few days into ketosis. But if you're not quite low-carb enough to make the shift, symptoms might stick around. You will have a reduced risk of various illnesses. Bread is made up of anti-nutrients like gliadin and glutenin. Not only do they not provide any benefit for your health, they literally attack your body as you eat. In fact, nobody's digestive system is equipped to properly handle gluten. Although a certain number of people are diagnosed to have gluten allergies, these people are just more sensitive to it than others. Our bodies do not have the enzymes to break it down. It all depends on how well your intestinal walls close after we eat it, and how our immune system reacts to it. Wheat contains compounds which can increase your risk of leaky gut syndrome by increasing intestinal permeability. Furthermore, avoiding bread will reduce your risk of chronic inflammation and joint pain. So cut it out of your diet can significantly reduce your risk of chronic illnesses. Number 5, you won't have as many cravings. Refined wheat bread is devoid of any nutritional value thanks to the manufacturing process. It's stripped bare of any nutrient-rich, wheat bran, and germ. This is why your body finds it easy to digest and can convert into glucose. This can cause your energy levels to spike. Your body doesn't really get any nutrition or fiber from eating bread. This, along with your glucose levels dipping low, can make you feel hungry more often. So avoiding bread can stop you from craving more simple carbs and unhealthy snacks throughout the day. In fact, it would be best to replace bread with plenty of fruits, vegetables, and occasional complex carbs to keep your gut feeling full until the next meal arrives. 6. You lose weight. As every person who has ever been on a diet knows, bread is one of the biggest enemies to weight loss. The first piece of advice your dietitian will give you is to stop eating refined white bread. This is because the high level of refined carbohydrates in bread makes your body retain water weight, which can make you feel bloated and heavy. So when you stop eating it, the pounds will come off naturally, especially around your waist. It's because refined grains are one of the main causes of excess belly fat. Not only will you look great, but you'll also feel great. Improved digestion. People who eat a lot of bread tend to have digestion issues. Gluten in general is very hard on the digestive system and can cause bloating, diarrhea, vomiting, and stomach cramps. People who may not think that they're allergic to gluten may have gluten sensitivities that make regular digestion difficult. If your digestive system isn't functioning properly, you can have a hard time losing weight or even develop certain diseases due to toxic buildup. Clearer skin. You've most likely heard the saying, beauty starts from the inside out. Well, there's also a similar saying in the health and wellness community which goes, what happens on the inside of your body will be directly mirrored on your skin. Bottom line is that your diet is going to be the number one factor that affects your overall skin health. So if your goal is healthy and glowing skin, you must make it a top priority to maintain a healthy diet that's rich in key skin nutrients. That understood, oftentimes people don't even realize that they do have a dietary sensitivity to wheat and gluten, which are both found in many varieties of bread. And in the case of wheat intolerance and gluten sensitivity, the symptoms can range from mild bloating to more bothersome symptoms, like chronic acne. Now, unfortunately, in the case of conditions like wheat intolerance and gluten sensitivity, the solution is very simple. Avoid bread altogether. Your workouts may suffer. Carbohydrates are the body's primary source of energy for fueling all exercise. 10. You might get anxious. The feeling of anxiety is something that happens once you eliminate carbs from your diet. This is because carbs increase the brain's level of the feel-good culture, chemical serotonin. So once you cut carbs, your psychological state goes along with it. The less serotonin you pump out, the more likely you are to feel bummed out. Your brain uses carbs as fuel for everything, including exercise, both endurance and resistance workouts. Reducing it can lead to a major drop in energy levels, and lesser workout means lesser serotonin production. Did you know that you can manage anxiety levels by eating the right foods? Now back to what happens when you stop eating bread for a month. You might have bad breath. A lot of people who follow a low-carb diet into ketosis report bad breath. These ketones that are fueled by your body at this point are released, also through your breath. Additionally, during the first stage of the low-carb diet, as you lose water weight you can develop dry mouth. That makes for a stinky breath too. Even if the dry mouth goes away, the halitosis caused by quitting bread won't. The only way to counter this bad breath is to drink a lot of water or to chew parsley. Bad breath can also be a sign of GERD, diabetes, or gum disease. Lower cholesterol levels. Whole wheat bread has been found to increase bad cholesterol by up to 60% over a 12-week period. This has been linked to various heart conditions, including heart disease. This surprising statistic is the result of high amounts of wheat and flour in most bread types, which have been directly linked to an increase in cholesterol levels. Bread has the ability to raise cholesterol levels without technically being high in fat content. In fact, its impact on bad cholesterol levels is currently an igniting debate between nutritionists and other medical professionals. Some nutritionists continue to argue that fat has the most significant impact on bad cholesterol levels. 13. Lower diabetes risk. Refined carbs in bread increase the levels of fatty acid that increase the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. Eating whole grains, on the other hand, can improve blood cholesterol levels and lower the risk of heart disease, stroke, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. How many times a week do you eat bread? Do you prefer having it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Is it always the healthy ones? Let us know in the comments section below. Enjoy this video, hit like, share and subscribe to My Healthy Food.